Who? Who is this person you're talking about? Who is this person you're talking about? You answer me now. Is she? Who is she? Who is she?
We can run the world, we can run the world. We can run the world, we can run the world. We can run the world, we can run the world.
Alright, welcome to the Musings of a Madman. I am your host, the last operator of the universe, and this morning I'd like to talk about basically so why I chose medicine, why I'm trying to become a doctor, and why I'm becoming a doctor. That sounds more prophetic. So to understand anything about this, I'd have to go a little bit backwards, and I'd have to inform you that in the very beginning of my journey, right, as a learner, high school, primary school, kindergarten, all these things, as I was working my way up through the education system, never once in my mind did it cross me to become a doctor. I did not like the idea of blood. I'm pretty sure I didn't like the idea of cutting people open or, resetting bones or anything. I didn't actually know much about medicine, but I just had an inkling that it wasn't what I wanted to be, What I wanted to be was a scientist. I liked the idea of just either being a mad scientist in the lab, mixing up chemicals and whatnot, or just generally just doing experiments, theoretical physics, theoretical, no. I'd hope to be more practical than that, but any form of physics where you had to do experiments and note down your findings and whatnot. And I thought that's actually more or less what I wanted for my life, something that I can create, or rather something that I can sort of work out, theoretically, and then test it functionally or like physically, and then see whether or not it works. I wanted something that had that kind of response to my work. Okay. So when I left high school, I had a cousin living with us somewhere in my high school years, and he was doing something called electronic engineering. And from what I saw about it, he was doing things like programming. He would come home with this board thing, and then he would put in the wires and whatnot, and then he would connect the stuff, and then he would turn on the power, and then a light would either light up or the light would dance. It was just, what I saw was just cool. I loved it. And I was like, yeah, I could do that. But when I left high school, I did not have I didn't know what I wanted to be, honestly, I took it sort of like, I wish I had taken a gap year, because then I would have given me time to plan it out. But the way I did was, I saw that my cousin was doing that, and I was like, yeah, why not, So I just jumped in. I didn't really think about it. I was like, it's just the next stage of your education system, man. You go from kindergarten to primary school to high school to university. This is just what you do, it's how you follow life and whatnot. I was in for a rude awakening, because I realized without passion, it just feels mind-numbing. Without passion, that pressure, that stress of succeeding and whatnot, it crushes you. It can destroy you. It can destroy your will to continue, can destroy your will to just be better. It just makes you an average person, somebody who's just trying to get through it. But anyways, we're supposed to be talking about why I'm going to become a doctor. That felt nice. Dr. Kapinga. Anyways. The reason why I wanted to be a doctor, or how I came about the idea, was I don't know what I was doing, but I had just come from a friend's place, and so I drove to it was close to sunset. The rays were orange, and I drove to like a a high top hill type of place, you know. And from that position, you could sort of see, you could see the hills, the mountains, you could see the sun setting slowly. And I had this tendency of writing. So as I sat there watching the sun slowly dip into the abyss, I pulled out a piece of paper and I had a pen with me at all times and I started writing. Before this, I'd also been writing. I'd always been the kind of person who just writes. And most times I just write about my thoughts. I write my thoughts, I write my ideas, my plans. You know, I like to just put things down on paper because it feels like once you've written it down, you don't have to remember it anymore. You know it's somewhere, you know. If you do have to remember it, you go to your mind and you go find that book or whatever, that piece of paper, and you read it from there. I wish it were that simple. So I was writing, and it was like an epiphany moment. I don't know how to describe it, you know. I don't know if I was writing about my life goals or my life plans, but there was a moment of clarity, you know. It's like the clouds parted and the sun came out and you could sort of see everything much clearer, you know. It felt like, yeah, actually it felt more like a nighttime where the clouds part and you actually see the moonlight shining through, the full moonlight, and you can see literally every leaf, every tree, every insect, and it's just a beautiful feeling, you know. The light also washes over you and it makes you feel safe and strong and just calm and collected. And in that moment, I wrote it down. I want to become a doctor. This time I was still an engineering student. I was expected to continue. And I decided from that moment on, I want to be a doctor. Now, the reasons why I wanted to be a doctor, the reasons I tell people and the reasons I tell myself, because at that moment I had to justify it. I could not just say I wanted to become a doctor while I'm already starting to be an engineer, you know. It didn't make sense for the plan that I had thought about, you know, because people go through systems, you know, primary school, high school, varsity, job. That's how life works. You walk through a ladder. Excuse me. So, to me, why I'm going to become a doctor, why I want to be a doctor. I want to be a doctor because I feel like I can make a difference. And I don't know exactly what that means. You know, I can quantify it, yes, but I've always said that, you know, I want to make a difference. You know? And to me personally, I feel like I would be able to do much more as a doctor than an engineer. At the time when I was sort of balancing the things out, I'd feel like I'd be able to do much more as a doctor than a school teacher or a businessman, you know. I feel like this is a place where I could fit in and do good. I like the structure of it, you know. It's a bit like being in the military. I also liken it a bit to being in a karate school or some kind, a martial arts school. You know, there's a hierarchy and there are certain roles assigned to specific levels of knowledge or experience. So you have your white belts, green belts, whatnot, and you have people at the black belt level. You have those people sort of teaching everybody. And brown belt also, you're expected to be able to teach. Green belt, you're expected to also be able to teach, but not the level of black belt. And white and yellow are sort of left behind. They're expected to sort of learn as much as they can. And I liken being a doctor, becoming a doctor, sort of to that as well. You know, I felt like once you enter the system and you become a doctor, in this case, a doctor being a black belt, you can exact change. You know, you can make a difference. And so for me personally, I feel like as a doctor, I would be able to make a difference. I would be able to change people's lives. I would be able to help people, you know. I never thought about what kind of doctor I'd be completely, you know. All I knew was just I want to be good, you know. I want to be more than average. I want to be fucking competent at my job. That was just the dream right there. But as I've been working in the system for a while now, it's my 5th year as a medical student and about my 2nd or 3rd year as a student going into the hospitals and practicals. As I've experienced other doctors, other interns, you know, consultants and whatnot, and I've experienced how the system actually works, I've realized that it's possible, it's quite possible that somebody could have the best intentions going in, and then when they get there, everything just changes. I'm speaking too vaguely, but I guess that's the best way I can sort of sum it up now. But the kind of doctor I'd like to be, based on what I've seen, is one who, yeah, like the competent part doesn't change. I want to be competent. You want to be competent. Um, you also like to be able to teach others well. Explain things and guide people. I feel like this is one thing that I've seen lacking from the doctors in charge, of the people up there now, people who I report to and who supervise me. They don't have the light in them. Why am I calling it the light? They don't have the drive in them to sort of try and make better doctors simply because they can. Right? We have doctors who are being paid by the university and whatnot, and they give us lessons and teach us things and whatnot, but you don't feel, it's rare. I don't want to say you don't, but it's rare to find a doctor who makes you feel like they want you to be a doctor and they want you to be the best possible doctor you can be, and that they're guiding you towards that being the best possible doctor thing. Most people teach because they have to. They give you the information and move on. I want to be able to sort of, you want to be able to guide the next generation. You want to make it easier for them than it was for you. It should be seamless. People should just fall in, man. Like the more we learn, the more since our school, our School of Medicine is quite young. Our education program, you could say, is also in its infantile processes. It's still getting better. It's damn good, honestly, I'd have to say, but I feel like it still can get better. And it's up to us, the ones who are sort of finishing, as we become doctors, and as we start working in the hospitals and dealing with these students. It's up to us to sort of guide and make them better doctors than we were at that time. It's all about making the best possible doctor, and I feel like that should be the only dream. For me, that's my dream. That's why I want to become a doctor, because I feel like I can be and will be one of the best doctors in the world. I never thought much about specializing. Up until recently, I haven't. Because for me, it was more like step one first, become a doctor. Then be the best doctor possible. Then, work on becoming a consultant. Then be the best consultant possible. And so on and so forth. I didn't actually think about it as something that has to be written out and planned out from the very beginning. So I don't think much about specializing, but I feel like now I realize that to specialize would give you more ability to make a difference, like I'm trying to do. But yeah, I want to be a doctor because I feel like I can make a difference. I feel like it's a bit grandiose of me, but I feel like without me in the system, it would be less. Without me, the lack of me in the system, me as a doctor, would be a disservice to the universe, a disservice to my country, a disservice to my world. This has been the Reasons of a Madman. Looking back on it now, I wanted to talk about the salary thing and whatnot, but I'm not sure it matters now. But I want to state that for some reason the money was never an allure for me. Anything I wanted to do, I never thought about the prestige or the acclaim. I don't find solace or happiness in titles or being able to buy the most expensive car in the world and whatnot. Sure, it would be nice, but I don't see that as part of my life. So as a doctor, we are servants of the state. That's why I said it is more likened to being a soldier. When you're working in the state hospitals, you are, or state health facilities, you are a soldier of the state. You are a servant of the state. You serve, you live to serve, you work to serve. And I feel like I've lost track of what I was trying to say, but that's about it. I wanted to become a doctor because I wanted to make a difference. I needed to become a doctor because it's the only thing that I feel like will fulfill my, not fulfill rather, but it's the only thing that I feel would have the demand. It's the only thing I feel like would have the demand and the ability to bring out the best in me. Yeah, you know, I can't see myself being good or being great and anything more than I would be at being a doctor. I hope that sort of makes sense. This has been the Musings of the Madman, and thank you for joining me.